I'm Dr. Professor Alex Rhema Zachariah, MD, a physician. Today I have with me David Nisbet. David Nisbet and his wife, Joyce Nisbet, they are thorough sportsmen. Well, they are associated with International Sports Outreach.
That's right, Doctor. International Sports Outreach is located just south of Memphis, Tennessee, and they've been going to Belize for 8 or 9 years doing missions work, teaching poverty-stricken children how to play softball and sharing Jesus with them. We met them 2 or 3 years ago.
Belize?
Belize, that's right. Just south of Mexico. On the Pacific side would be Guatemala, and on the Caribbean side, south of Mexico, is the country of Belize.
Tell us something more about it. Is it just one country, landlocked, or around sea, or what?
The eastern shores of Belize, Doctor, they border the Western Caribbean Sea. It is around 180 miles long, and it has the Belize Barrier Reef just less than a half mile offshore. In fact, there are places on the island we stay on where the reef touches the island.
So you don't stay in the mainland, you stay in an island?
When we won the national championship last year, we were on the mainland in Camilote. But my wife and I stay on one of the 200 keys or islands just inside the Barrier Reef off the coast of mainland Belize.
When exactly you won the national championship?
The national championship was won by the San Pedro High School boys fast-pitch softball team on March the 16th and 17th of 2012.
How did you and your wife Joyce got involved with this?
We started coaching the San Pedro High School softball team. Actually, we're just assistant coaches. And this happened in 2011 when we were meeting International Sports Outreach. That year, they were out at the airport on vacation. What they do, Doctor, for 8 years before we met International Sports Outreach, they would conduct these mission trips on the mainland, and then they'd vacation out on the island. Well, we were there with them every year, but never met them. And then as my daughter and future son-in-law were leaving the island for their first visit, we met the team at the airport, and we hooked up with them and brought the clinics out to San Pedro.
It appears to be a divine appointment.
It sure was, Doc. God was in that. And this mission trip, at the end, we hauled down probably 30 or 40 bags of gear and gifts for the children as we do the clinics through the week. And at the end, we just give it all away. And that year, we gave it away to San Pedro High School. About 11 months later, they won the national championship using that gear and with the assistance of a couple of our coaches from International Sports Outreach.
Tell us something about a typical mission day trip.
The missions trip would start at around 6 a.m. It's a 6-day trip. You'd arrive in Belize in early March on a Sunday morning. We'd board a air-conditioned bus, and it's much like being on a minor league team for a week. You get your uniforms and you get taken to the hotel. That night you meet players representing the Belize national team in Esperanza, and along with some other players, and you do an exhibition game with them and share Jesus. Now the next morning on Monday, you would get up and you would start a routine that would last all week. And this is what it would look like. You'd get up around 6:30 and have a team meal and prayer, and then at about 7:30 you're dismissed for a couple hours up in your room. The team bus leaves at 9, and you go to a school. And you conduct the clinic, share Jesus, and give them their presents, and then you leave. You get a quick lunch, and you do it again at 1 o'clock. 4 o'clock, you think that's a big day. Well, it's not even started yet. You go back to the hotel, shower, and you have a team dinner. And then they put your uniform up in your room for you. You get dressed, and then you go out and meet the Belize national team, or the remnants of it, up in Esperanza, the Royal Blue Devils, and get to play them every night. So it's about 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. This is a long day on the missions field.
What kind of schools? Is the typical school well-abled, well-fed children, or is it any difference? What kind of schools?
Unfortunately, Doctor, in the country of Belize, there is a lot of poverty-stricken schools. We even went to a house with deaf children, and my wife and everyone was able to sing to them, and they were singing back, and it was a very touching day. But most of them are poverty-stricken, and some have chain-link fences, and there's some wounded children there, and we've come to pray with them and just to hope to touch their lives in a couple hours.
I understand you grew up in Arcola, where there are a lot of Mennonites. And are Mennonites involved in this?
They are. They're in Belize also. And I did grow up in Arcola, Illinois, and was around the Mennonite and Amish community. And it was a real blessing to me to be able to go to school with some of those guys down there. So I knew a bit about the Amish and the Mennonite community, and I knew they were master craftsmen, very responsible.
Yes.
And you're right, in Belize, they have an Amish community, Mennonite community up at Spanish Lookout, a very beautiful part of the country.
So that fits well. No electricity, no car. Here is a country. Some places they may not have that. But anyway, their presence is just wonderful.
It is, Doctor, and they run a dairy, Western Dairies up in that area. And during the mission trip, we stop there and get some of their fresh ice cream, and it's just a blessing of a trip. You have a lot of fun. You get to play sports, and it's a week in Belize, and it's you find out more about it at internationalsportsoutreach.com.
Yes.
It's about $1,700 to go on the trip. That includes your airfare, all your meals, and we give you a letter so you can raise money with your church to have them pay for it.
You take a lot of luggage, 30 to 40 large bags. So other than you and Joyce and the luggage, anybody else in the plane?
Yeah, it's pretty full, and actually my wife and I travel down to Belize a month ahead of time. We like to do the advance work down there to lay the foundation, so we're usually there a couple, 3 months. So the team flies down and we meet them, and yes, it's a crowded bus, but Mark Tatko, the founder of International Sports Outreach, and all of his board of directors, they do a fantastic job. You land at that airport, Doctor.
Yes.
They've got that luggage tagged. It's put on the bus the proper manner and stacked. Everybody's rooms are ready when you get there. And yeah, we're carrying maybe 20 bats, maybe 500 softballs. We're giving a lot of stuff away over the week. And
where do you get these sports gears?
So we do drives, and we ask local retailers
Yes.
in the area to donate to what we're doing, and they've always blessed us before.
That is to be really appreciated. Yes, and what is you and your wife Joy's relationship with the school official in that beautiful island?
So the island's name is Ambergis Key. It's the first island off the southern coast of Mexico at the end of the Yucatan Peninsula, where we stay in the winter. And the school officials have been very kind to us. Principal Vasquez, Athletic Director Kelly at San Pedro High School, the entire staff there, they've just been very kind to us, and they've allowed us to come in and be a small part of that national championship team, and we thank them for that.
And you have met the founder of International Sports Outreach, and what are some of your observations and experience with him?
Yeah, Mark Tatko, Mike Thaxton, and that whole group, they love the Lord, and they have a heart to go down, them and their wives, every year and just give a week to the kids. And those kids love it. Mark's a guy that gives all the boys nicknames, major leaguers nicknames. And we might put up a couple dollars for the longest home run of the day, and you just see their eyes light up, and they've blessed me sometimes. Preacher Stan talks, and sometimes they allow me to share Jesus with the children.
Yes, so the children would be extremely excited about it.
They are, and as we pull up, they'll be poking their head out the window, and they'll usually, we can hear them say that gringos are here, so it must be exciting.
Yes. What are the names of some of the coaches? We recognize them.
Yeah, the head coach of the national championship team was Marion Mejia, and Brandon Bood was also a coach on that team at San Pedro High School. And we used the International Sports Outreach coach was the national team center fielder, Derek Jones, the professor, who at the age of 18 shattered the Belize national home run record, and at the age of 31 today he still holds that record. And although he can't beat me at basketball, he is the national home run king.
Wow. Yes, tell us something about the star players.
The pitchers are the top right-hander in Belize is Jason Belay. On the top left-hander, they call him Big Ben, Milton Flores. They throw world-class speed, the guys from the national team. Now on the San Pedro High School team,
Yes.
our best pitcher is Charles Rabaugh. He was the team captain and I believe the national championship most valuable player. We look for him to go on
Yes.
to be a national team pitcher, maybe filling Jason's shoes as one of the top right-handers in Belize.
Describe how a road trip looks for this team on an island trip.
It's a very good question. So we have a disadvantage because we don't have anyone else to play on the island.
Yes.
Everyone knows the big sport in Belize is football,
Ah.
and that is what we know as soccer. In
Soccer.
fact, our practice facility, while we're playing, there's soccer balls flying around.
Yes.
They're going on at the same time. It's much different than in the United States.
Yes.
So a road trip, we have to do this. We have to get up about 6 a.m. and Amigos Del Mar, one of the big docks on the island, they get us a boat with Captain Chucky, and we have to get on that boat around 6 a.m. and go an hour and a half off the island to the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the start.
Yes.
Now at 9 a.m. we arrive to the mainland and we get on a dock and we empty all the bags out of the bus.
Yes.
We're playing a team on the mainland and we board this bus and we may have a 30-minute or an hour drive to the place we play. And then of course when the game's over we have to reverse that whole thing and try to make it out on the island before dark.
Could you share with us how you trained this team to win the national title? And was it a sailing through, or there was some tough time that you didn't know that the team is not going to win?
Sure, Doctor. Actually, my wife and I had very little to do with coaching this team. Coach Marion and Coach Derek, they're the ones that put in the hard work. We were there for most practices, but most of the time just instructing a little bit, but all the credit goes to those guys and San Pedro High School staff. But what happened is that in 2011 they were having practice, and International Sports Outreach
Yes.
asked my wife and I to find out who was the high school fast pitch team. And we rode our bicycles around for about a week, Doctor. And they kept saying, well, they're here, and we kept missing them. So finally we ran into the team and we told them who we were and wondered if we could help them out. Well, at the time they hadn't, I don't believe they'd ever won a regional title, let alone a national championship. And they asked my wife and I to come back the next day and teach them how to hit a fastball.
Yes.
So we showed them the proper technique to load and drive through the ball with the eyes down, extend, and extend again. And they started doing that. The next weekend was the regionals, and they went out and scored 31 runs in 2 games. And they won their first regional title ever. That was in 2011. They went to the national championship and lost. We brought in a couple extra coaches and handed the equipment that I was talking to you
Yes.
about earlier.
Yes.
And brought Coach Derek out, and with Marion and Coach Bood. They practiced all summer and in the fall, and then in February of this year, 2012, my wife and I came back down.
Yes.
And we had a very small part in it, and they went out and won the national championship on March the 17th, 2012 in the town of Camalote by beating powerhouse St. John's
Wow.
of the mainland.
And how did they celebrate?
It was very exciting. We were touched before the game. They asked me to pray for the team.
Yes.
And I wanted to bring them away from the field and the crowds, and we found a place off to the side,
Yes.
and we prayed. After winning, we noticed that a photographer had came around and took that photograph of us praying before the game, and it said National Championship.
Yes.
Something, unfortunately, that you wouldn't get to see in the United States newspapers. But in Belize, they're free to
Yes.
publish those things. So we were blessed to have a day like that and win the
Yes.
national championship in March of 2012.
Yes. And you have a picture I saw that you were in a cart, golf cart, and went around, or?
That's correct. They had a parade a few days later, and the school officials, again, were kind enough to call my wife and I
Yes.
for us to go along in the parade. And it was just like in America, they didn't have a fire truck, but they had a hardware truck,
Yes.
hardware store truck, and they were driving around the island and and all the press was there, and school got out early, and it was just a big day in the country of Belize.
Yes. And what are your plans for the international sport outreach as you go this year?
This year we'd like to again team up with the defending national champions, and we want to conduct a clinic in the summer with the kids, hopefully working with Lighthouse Christian Radio and
Yes.
some other people with the Kumars on the island. And we want to keep coming down there, Doctor, because the people of Belize are so warm and kind.
Yes.
Now, when you read on the internet, it says, come to Belize, the people are warm and kind, and you think, well, the Belize Tourism Board is just saying that to get you down there.
Mm-hmm.
But in the country of Belize, it's true. The people are just fantastic.
Yes. Very good. So therefore you recommend Belize as a place for people to visit?
Oh, I definitely do, Doctor. Come down to Belize. You'll love the barrier reef, the warm people, and come on our mission trip. You'll really enjoy it.
And so that brings us to this aspect of the mission trip. How, if someone who is hearing our program wants to get associated with this trip and these wonderful activities, what would they need to do?
If someone wanted to go on the trip, it's always during spring break in March of every year. So March 2013, in the local area, in the Champaign-Urbana area, you'd want to call me at the Vineyard Church, David Nisbet, and leave a message, or around the country at internationalsportsoutreach.com. You would raise money and sign up for the trip, and we would leave usually around March 12th or 13th, whatever that Sunday is, the second Sunday in March of every year.
What would be the approximate cost of the round trip?
The airfare to Belize is a bit expensive. It can be $700 or $800, but that's included in the price of $1,700, which is also your hotel stay, the air-conditioned bus, every meal but lunch, and you get T-shirts and giveaways, and a lot of your money goes for the children too. It's just a great trip, and my wife and I will be doing it for our third straight year in March of 2013.
And how many days?
You'll be gone from the United States. You'll be gone from the United States 7 days. You would fly out on a Sunday and return on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm. And you need a passport?
You do. That would actually be, you'd be gone from the United States 8 days. And you would need a passport to travel to Belize, and expect to take 6 weeks to get your passport.
A visa?
The passport would be fine.
Fine.
Visa wouldn't work for a U.S. citizen. You'd need to get a passport.
Yes. We are really excited about what you have presented, and there's very much needed activities that is there. It's so rewarding to those who are going, and it's equally or more rewarding to whom that to whom this particular service is not a service. It's doing things together.
I agree, Doctor. We at International Sports Outreach, on behalf of my wife and I, would like to thank the San Pedro High School Principal Vasquez, Athletic Director Kelly, and the Town Council, all the members of Town Council, Councilman Kendrick Brackett and Gabby Nunez, and Mayor Danny Guerrero. You guys do a great job down there, and we appreciate all your support on the island of Ambergris Caye, the country of Belize. Thank you very much.
Yes, we thank you for this very good time in which we had this exposure to two aspects, international sport outreach and this mission trip, and also that what we have in terms of those who would be interested to take this mission trip and have a wonderful time in the island in the sea. Thank you.